So we're going to go through Mathematics 1100 Quiz 1 2023 for the University of Zambia. The first question was saying, if A is a subset of B, simplify the following. A is a subset of B. The first one which was given, they said simplify B union A complement and then intersection A. And this question was 3 marks. The first thing that I'm able to do is I can distribute the A which is outside. The A intersect, I'll distribute it to this one. So we're going to have A intersection B. And then I'm going to get the union which is on the middle. And then the A intersect, I'll distribute it with the A complement. I'm going to have A intersect A complement. Now, since A is a subset of B, meaning that A is inside B, right? Like that. A is a subset of B. Meaning that the intersection of A and B is going to be A because A is inside B. So this is going to be A union. Now we know that an empty set intersection, what is outside it, is actually an empty set. I mean, a set doesn't intersect with its complement. That is an empty set. And any set union an empty set is that same set. So this was supposed to give us A, and that is the 3 marks. Are we clear on this one? If there is a question, please, you can go on and speak. Okay, so for the same question, we also had part B, which was also 3 marks, which was saying find A minus B in brackets and then a complement outside. Yes, please. Is there a question? You can go on. Open your mic and speak. You can open your mic and speak. Yes?
My question is on the previous what you just told us.
Uh-huh.
Where is the big where is the big one on this
Okay, remember the first condition given is that A is a subset of B, meaning that A is inside B. So now you are looking for the intersection of A and B. Where is A and B meeting? It is just in A. That's where these two sets are meeting. So that's why A intersection B are just given as A. Because the intersection of these two sets is just the set A. Is that okay now? Is that clear? Or you still have got some questions? Okay. Now, remember we've said the next question which we have here is that we want to find A minus B complement. For the same question, remember A is still a subset of B. Now we want to find A minus B complement. A minus B complement, we can simplify it as A intersect B complement, and then you have got a complement. And then we're going to distribute a complement. From De Morgan's law, this is going to become A complement union B. A complement union B means what is outside A but is in B. Alright? What is outside A but is in B. I mean, sorry, not is in B. What is outside A? This is what is outside A. That's A complement. Okay? Outside A. Now, together with B, union B meaning also shade the set B. So you also shade the set B. That's the meaning of union. So from what you're able to see here, the answer is going to be just B. If you get what is outside A together with B, so give you B. Now, I'm saying it is going to give us B because they've not told us about the universal set. We've not been given the universal set. Meaning that if anything is outside A, then it's going to be in B. Otherwise, if we are given the universal set, the final answer would have been the universal set. Because if you consider everything outside, a complement would have given us up to these ends. Okay, up to those ends. But since we don't have the universal set in this problem, we are going to take that the bigger set, which is B, is going to be the biggest set which we have. And so A complement is just going to be B. We don't have anything outside B because we don't know the universal set. I hope that is okay. So the answer then is going to be B for this one. Are we good? Are we clear on the previous question? Alright, so question 2 was saying, given that x and y are disjoint, who can help us? What does disjoint mean? Yes? The one who has raised the hand, you can go on and speak.
Intersection.
They don't have any intersection. Very good. So they've told us, given that x and y are disjoint, express this given set here in simplest form. And this question was 4 marks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this complement. I'm going to distribute it here and also here. Okay. So if I distribute it on the first one, we are going to just have x intersect y. We are going to have two complements, and two complements we know they'll cancel. The sign here changes from from union to intersection. And then we are going to have, we know that x minus y is x intersection y complement. This one is also going to gain a complement here because we've distributed the complement. So a complement comes here. And since x and y are disjoint, meaning that the intersection of these two sets is going to be an empty set. So that will be empty set, intersect, and then we are going to distribute now this complement again to what is inside. So we are going to have x complement and then union y complement with another complement, that will just be y. And we know that an empty set intersection any other set is always an empty set. But an empty set union any other set is that same set. So the answer here for the 4 marks is empty set. Are we okay? Yes, please. If you have got a question, be sure to open your mic and speak.
Because for empty set intersection x complement should be y. I didn't get what you said.
Okay, empty set intersection anything is always empty set. So this y is representing basically anything, it is always empty set. And then empty set union anything, it will be that same thing. So just this to maybe for us to know. That's okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
Make sure that you guys know this. It's very important. Okay, so let's proceed to the next question. And the next question was saying express negative 2.171. The dash was starting from 7 to 1 in the form a over b, where a, b are integers and b can't be equal to 0. And a over b should be in its simplest form. And this question was carrying 6 marks. 6 marks. Okay. Now we know the first thing we should do is just let x be equal to this number given, negative 2.171, like that. Make sure that you know where the dash on top is starting. This is going to be our equation 1. The next thing, make sure that the decimal is in front of the number which is repeating. So you can see that we have got one number in front before the decimal. So I'm going to multiply equation 1 by 10 so that the decimal goes in front of the first number, which is repeating. So x times 10, that will be 10x. Negative 2.171 by 10, that will be negative 21.71. This is going to be equation 2. And the next thing, make sure that the decimal point is after the digits which are repeating. So because we have got two digits which are repeating, then multiply equation 2 by 100 because we have got two digits repeating. So 10x times 100 to be 1000x. Negative 21.71 by 100, that will be negative 21.71. And then I'll just put the point so shift from here up to the end here. Now just to maintain the decimal, I'm going to put a 71 because it's repeating. Okay, it's repeating. And I'll put a dash. So the two equations, one which has got a decimal point before the repeat number and one which has got a decimal point after the repeat number, those two I'm going to subtract. So say subtract equation 3 minus equation 2, or you can even do it equation 2 minus equation 3, or up to you. So I'm going to say 1000x is equal to negative 2171.71, and then the 10x is equal to negative 21.71. So these are the two equations we are going to subtract. We know 1000 minus 10, that is 990x. Now here we have got negative minus this negative. We should be able to tell what the sign should be. So if this one is a bigger number, it's negative, minus a negative number which is smaller. For example, negative 10 minus negative 6. Expect the answer to be negative because the bigger number, in other words, this negative and this negative will give us a positive. That is what we know. So basically what we have is negative 2171.71 plus 21.71. Now the 7 ones at the end, they'll cancel themselves out. So we'll just get to leave them out. What we'll just get to do is subtract 2171 with 21. So these are what we are going to subtract. 1 minus 1 is a 0. 7 minus 2 is a 5. Then we'll bring 1 and 2. Because we're subtracting a big number from a small number, the answer is going to be negative 2150. So now divide both sides by 990. Now remember, for you to gain all the 6 marks, your answer should be in the simplest form. Just from here you can see this 0 can cancel with this 0. And from here I think we can look at a number that can go into both of these numbers without leaving any remainder. And what number is that which can go into 215 and into 99 without leaving a remainder? We don't have any, so the answer will just be 215 over 99. You gain all the 6 marks from here. Are we okay here? Remember, this value is negative, so if you forget that negative again, it is going to affect your marks. Is it okay? Please, if you have got a question, open your mic and speak. Okay, if it's okay, we'll go to the next question. So that was question 1. That was question 1 and it was carrying 12 marks. So we have done 12 marks. Question 2. This paper had only 3 questions. Question 2 part A was saying, let R be the universal set and then we had also set A, which was saying x is a member of real numbers such that negative 7 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 3. And then we add also B, which was x is a member of real numbers such that 0 is less than x, which is less than 8, and then we add c, which was moving from negative infinity to 10. Find each of the following and display the solutions on the number line. The first one is A union C complement. That was the part 1. And then part 2 was saying A union B minus C complement, and then a complement. So this one is 2 marks, this one is 4 marks. Okay, now let's work out this question. Now, starting with the first one, A union C complement. Remember, the question is also display on the number line. So I'm going to, please, it's always important to work with a number line, even if they've not told you to work with a number line. So we want to find A union C. So I'll get A. Since this is a set of real numbers, we can write it in interval form from negative 7 to 3. Now let me ask, is negative 7 part of the set A?
No.
It isn't, right? So at negative 7, I'm going to put an open circle. What of 3? Is it part of the set A?
Yes.
Yes. So we are going to put a closed circle there. We get to put it like that. So this is our set A. Then I'm going to get a set C, which is from negative infinity to 10. So let's say 10 is here. And we can see we are closing on 10. So I'm going to shade here at 10. Negative infinity goes in this direction. That's C. Now remember, for this question we are looking for the union of these two sets. So the union, when you get to combine this, you write another number line. Please work with it stepwise like this. You shall never get a question wrong on sets if you work it with it stepwise. Now you can see that the O of set A can go into set C. And when you are talking about a union of two sets, you always get a bigger set. So meaning that the A union C will just be C. So I'm going to say this is A union C. Now remember, you want to write A union C complement. So where there is 10, the only complement is starting from here going in this direction. That will be the A union C complement. So I've shown it on the number line A union C complement. And you can just now write the answer. A union C with a complement is from 10 up to infinity. Very simple like that. Are we okay? They are both open at 10 and at infinity. We are open. James, your hand is up. You have a question?
Okay, yeah. My question is basically on the 10 to infinity there on the complement. I had encountered some equation whereby it says that, for example, 10 and let me say 7, the universal set. Now, in a case whereby, well, we want to get the complement of A union C. Now, what if in a case whereby 10 is the universal set? So,
Uh-huh. I like that one. So let's say, because for this question the universal set is a set of all real numbers. Let's say the universal set only ended at 10, alright? This is where the universal set ends. So meaning that the universal set only ends at 10. And then you have found that you want to find the complement. You know the complement is supposed to be here going outside. But you can't go this side because it's not part of the universal set. You should just end that on the universal set. In such a case, you can see that this is open. So the universal set is going to be an empty set in such a case. The reason as to why it's an empty set is because you can't draw an arrow going in this direction because that's not part of the universal set. The only thing that is in the universal set is 10. And you know that 10 is not in the set that you want. So make sure that you restrict your operations to the universal set. Don't exceed the universal set. So in this case, let's say if the universal set was going up to 11. We know that C complement is starting at 10 and universal set is ending at 11. So we'll just go, let's say maybe 11 is being included in the universal set. We'll just end here like that. So then the A union C complement will be from 10 to 11 like that. But if it wasn't, if the inverse set is just ending at 10, then this set would be an empty set. Because you see 10 is in the inverse set, but 10, at 10 we are putting an open circle. It means it's not there in the set that we want. So definitely just put an empty set. Is that okay, James?
Yes, very much. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Sylvia, try to disconnect and connect again. It might be your network. Okay, let's consider now part C. For part C, we want to work out A union B minus C complement. First thing first, my friends, this carries marks. You need to simplify this. Yes, Lillian?
Sorry for bringing it back first. I want to ask
Yes.
the part where on the C part, where you are plotting the number line. Why did you do it below? Is it wrong if you do it on top?
No, it's correct. You can do it anywhere. Just for smartness' sake, that's why I was writing it down. Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Now we want to work out the second part, which is saying we work out A union B minus C complement to another complement. First thing, let's simplify this thing, guys. So this is going to be A union. We know first thing we simplify B minus C. We know B minus C is B intersection C complement. But remember, C already has another complement, so we are going to have two complements, and then you have got a complement outside. So this will give you A union. You know, two complements, they cancel themselves out. So there is no complement on C. I'll again distribute this complement. So we're going to have, no, I'll actually not distribute. So we're going to have B intersection C with a complement. I'll not distribute the complement because if I distribute, working with the distributed is going to be a bit of trick. So I'm going to work with this. Let me even write it this side. A union A, B intersection C with a complement outside. So always first start with what is given in brackets. It will be easier for you. I'm first writing a number line here. Remember I first want to work out B intersection C. So I'm going to get B. We can see B is from 0 to 8. We are not including 0, not including 8. Okay, this is B. And then C is from negative infinity to 10. But we are including 10, right? So we're including 10 here. Going in this direction. That's C. Now here we want where they're intersecting. The intersection of a set, you always get a smaller set. The union of a set, you always get a bigger set. So since we get a smaller set, what will be the intersection of B and C here? Is it going to be set B or set C? What do you think? Anyone who can answer us?
Can you repeat the question, sir?
What will be the intersection of B and C? Is it going to be set B or set C? Very good. It's going to be B because you always pick the smaller set. So 0 up to 8. Okay, so what I've written here is B intersection C. Now remember we are interested in B intersection C complement. So look at what is outside this set. Since in B intersection C we have got 8, we don't have 8 I mean, then in the complement we are going to have 8. So I'm going to shade there and then put an arrow going in this direction. Since in B intersection C we don't have 0, then in the complement we are also going to have 0. So I'm going to put a 0 shaded and then go in this direction. So what I've written in white is B intersection C complement. Okay, I I should have written this on a different number line just to make sure that I don't confuse anything at all. So are we good so far? Yes, Lillian.
On the C, on the B intersection C, zero was not part of the B, but was part of the C. Now on the brackets here, they're open.
So when you are looking at the intersection, it should be in both sets, not in one. Unless union, if it is in one, then you pick it. But for intersection, it should be in both. Is that okay? So if you see the B intersection C I've written down here, because 0 is not part of B but it's part of C, so it is not part of the intersection. It's not part. Huh? This is the one you're able to see here. It's not part. It's open there. But since I want B in what is outside this set, since 0 is not in B intersection C, then it is going to be in B intersection C complement. So that is why I've now shaded here. Is that okay, Lilian?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm removing this set which is down here. Now, we have already put B intersection 6 complement. Now let's put set A also. Now we know that A is coming from negative 7 to positive 3. Negative 7 to positive 3. We are not including negative 7, but we are including positive 3. Now here we are taking the union of these two sets. And remember, we're supposed to also show on the number line. So the union of these two sets, we are going to start from 3. 3 is being included in the union, is going to go all the way up to negative infinity, because set A is going to connect with this set and then it continues to go like that. That's union connecting. And then we are also going to start from 8 going all the way up to positive infinity. Okay, so the final answer then for this question is going to be from negative infinity to 3 closed, and then from 8 to infinity. That is going to be the answer for this one. Are we okay? Lydian, your hand is still up. You have a question? Okay.
Sorry, that's an accident.
All right. Are we good with this? Do we have questions? Okay. So let's go to the next question. That was question 2, part A. And then part B was saying simplify each of the following. The first one we've been asked to simplify is the 3 divided by square root of 63. The next one we've been asked, and this one carries 3 marks. The next one we've been asked to simplify square root of 20 plus 2 square root of 45 minus square root of 80. This one is 4 marks. So we have got is 3 marks. This is 4 marks. Okay. Now, friends, when you are simplifying surds, make sure the first of all you express them in the simplest form. When you have got a radical, take for example square root of 12. You know 12 is the same as 4 times 3. Write it as a product of a square number. And you know the square root of 4 is a 2, so this is going to be 2 square root of 3. So that is what you want to do. Okay, first thing first, make sure that you simplify anything that has got a root and is not in the simplest form. 63 is the same as 9 times 7, meaning that 63 square root of 63 is 3 square root of 7. So this is going to be, want to simplify, this is going to be 3 divided by 3 square root of 7. 3 and 3 would divide, so we're going to have 1 divided by square root of 7. When you are simplifying surds, you don't want the root to be down, so multiply both sides by the root. Okay, up and down, so that you are going to have root 7 over root 7 times root 7 is the 7. So this is the simplified form of this question, which you can also write as 1 over 7 square root of 7 in any of these two forms. Please don't write 1 over 7 square root of 7. It's different. This is wrong. Okay, are we good? Friends, just these 3 marks. Imagine 3 marks. Are we okay? Does the silence mean we are okay or we are not? Lillian, yes?
I never heard what you said the network changed.
Okay, but you heard what I've written here?
No, I just heard where you said 3 over the root of 63. That's all. I never heard the network change.
Okay, square root of 63 is the same as 63 is 9 times 7. So square root of 63 is the same as square root of 9 times 7. Always make sure that you express a radical in terms of a square number. Square root of 9 is a 3, which we've written here, and then you are going to have square root of 7, which we can't find. The 3's are able to simplify, so we're going to have 1 over square root of 7. When you are simplifying radicals, always make sure that the radical is on top, not down. So that's why I've conjugated, I've multiplied by the conjugate. Multiply on top by root 7, also down by root 7. So we have got, see, 1 times root 7 is root 7, and then root 7 times root 7 is the 7. So that's why we have got the answer as the square root of 7 over 7. Is that okay now? Okay, I guess that's okay. Now let's work out the next. We have got square root of 20 plus 2, pardon? Okay, we have got this one. Square root of 20 plus 2 square root of 45 minus square root of 80. What perfect square number can go into 20? Any perfect square number that we know that can go into 20? A 4. Thank you. Okay. So meaning that square root of 20 is the same as square root of 4. 4 times 5, then plus 2. Any perfect square number that can go into 45? Any? Okay, how many times? 9 into 40, 5 times, good. And then any perfect square number that can go into 80? 16. How many times? Very good. So square root of 4 is a 2, so that is 2 square root of 5. And then we have got 2. Square root of 9 is a 3. And then square root of 5. Then we have got square root of 16, which is a 4, and then square root of 5. So all we do is add or subtract those constants outside. I'll go to get a 2, and then I'll get with the sign plus 6. I'll get with the sign minus 4, and then write square root of 5 at the end. 2 plus 6 is 8, minus 4 is 4, so this is going to be 4 square root of 5. So that is going to be the answer. Are we good? It's very simple, right? Do you have questions? Okay, let's go to the next, which was question C of part question 2. So one was saying rationalize the denominator and simplify each of the following. The first one, we have got 2 divided by square root of 2 minus square root of 5. It is 4 marks. The other one, we have got 3 divided by square root of 3 minus 2 squared. It is also 4 marks. So these all carry the same marks. They are 4 marks each. Now, when you want to rationalize the denominator, something which is in this form, make sure just get what is in the denominator. Just change the sign. So it says multiply on top by square root of 2 plus square root of 5. Down you also have square root of 2 plus square root of 5. Simple as that. Start multiplying. 2 times root 2, that is going to be 2 root 2. 2 times root 5, that is going to be 2 root 5. Friends, every time you are dealing with surds, when you multiply a surd by its conjugate, a conjugate is just differing by the sign. You can see they are basically the same. What is only different is the sign. All you do is get a first number, square root of 2, square it. Always put a plus. It doesn't matter whether it's the first one which had a minus, the second one a plus, or the first one with a plus, the second one with a minus. Always do the same. Get a first number, you square. Always put a minus, and then get a second number, you also square. So I can actually factorize out a 2. Then we are going to have square root of 2 on top plus square root of 5. In the denominator, square root of 2 squared is a 2. Square root of 5 squared is a negative 5. So we're going to have 2 minus 5, which is negative 3. Therefore, the final answer will just be negative 2 over 3, open brackets, square root of 2 plus square root of 5. As simple as that. As simple as that. Do you have questions on this? Do you have questions on that one? Jacob, are we clear? Yes, Jacob. Are we good? Or we have anyone who wants to say something? So we have gotten the 4 marks from that question. Then the next one. Lillian, please go on.
Sorry. How do we get the negative 3 after we cleared the roots?
After. So it will remain as 2 minus 5. The answer is going to, we had square root of 2 squared minus square root of 5 squared. And that is going to remain as negative 3. Like 2 minus 5 is negative 3. You get that? Is that okay, Lillian?
So every time you have a root to a power, the power comes to be the root. Yes, I'm so Java. Then you just remove the root there.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's work out this one. 3 divided by square root of 2 minus 2, square root of 3 minus 2 squared. What we are going to do is first work out the denominator. And since the network has started slowing, so this power 2, you can see, just get the root 2, you square it. Okay, that will give you 3. And then get the same power 2, you multiply with the root 3, and then you multiply with the negative 2. That is going to give you negative 4 root 3. And then get the negative 2, which is at the end of the brackets, you square it. It is going to give you positive 4. So this more simplified is going to be 3 divided by 3 plus 4 is a 7 minus 4 square root of 3. Can now rationalize the denominator, multiply on top by 7 plus 4 root 3, also down 7 plus 4 root 3. 3 by 7, 21. 3 by 4 is a 12, and then root 3 down. Multiplying a number by its conjugate, get the first one 7, you square it. Get the second one 4 square root of 3, square it. This is going to give us 21 plus 12 square root of 3 divided by 7 squared is a 49 minus 4 squared is 16. Root of 3 squared is just a 3. So what we have is 16 times a 3. And what is the answer there? First mathematicians, what is the answer? That's a 48. So 49 minus 48 is a 1. So the answer will just be 21 plus 12 square root of 3. So this is the answer for this question. As simple as that. Are we good? Are we good? Lillian, is it clear? Jack? Okay.
It's clear.
Okay, let's look at the last question now from this paper. That was question 3. Alright, question 3 is saying given that z, a complex number z, is 1 divided by I plus 2. Express each of the following in the form a plus ib. The first one we want to express is z squared. That was on question A, part 1. Then part 2 is z minus 1 over z. That's the first thing that we want to do. The first question carries 3 marks. The next one carries 4 marks. Alright, starting with the first one, z squared. Simply get z, you then square it. So z is 1 divided by I plus 2. Okay, square that. If I don't want to direct do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this z I plus 2. I'll first rationalize it, multiply by I minus 2. Now please, for complex numbers, you change the sign of the imaginary part, not the number between. Okay, we are going to change the sign of the imaginary part, so it will become negative I plus 2. The 2 will still be positive. Change the sign of the I. This is still Z. We'll get to square that. 1 times 2, that is going to give us 2. 1 times negative I, that will be negative I. For complex numbers, get a first number, you square it, right? Get a first number, you square it. That is now I, the number in front of I is what you get. That is a 1. You square it. For complex numbers, always put a plus. It's not like surds where you put a minus. For complex numbers, always put a plus. Even if this is negative, but always get a positive 1, you square it. And then get a 2 also, you square it. Remember, you are still squaring the answer. So this is going to give you 2 minus I over 5 squared. Now, still this will give us, see, we get the first number which is 2, we square it, that will give us a 4. Then we get a power 2, we multiply by 2, and then we multiply by I, that is going to give us negative 4I. And then we get the negative I, we square it, that will give us positive I squared. And then down also 5 squared, that is a 25. Now we know that I squared is a negative 1. So this is 4 minus 1, that is going to give us 3. So I'm going to say 3 over 25 minus the 4I over 25. So we just split the denominator to both. So this is going to be the answer. Are we good? Are we good? Do you have any question on this? Alright, so let's consider now 2. Want to find z minus 1 over z. This, just merging this as a single fraction, we can as well write it as z over 1. So get the z on top and multiply with the z down, so that is going to give us z squared minus, get the 1 on top here, multiply with the 1 here, that is minus 1, and then over, multiply the 2z denominators, that will be over z. Now we've already found z squared. Okay, so just replace now z, we know that that is 1 over I plus 2 squared minus 1 over the same z, which is 1 over I plus 2. Now, since I've already forgotten, what did we find as z squared? Just from the previous question. Is it 3 over 25 plus 4 over 25i? Is it the one?
Three over 25 minus 4.
Or it was a minus, not plus? Okay. So that is what we found as z squared. 3 over 25 minus 4 over 25i. And then minus 1. And then divided by. Remember, I had already conjugated 1 over I plus 2. What did we find when I rationalized the denominator? Or when I conjugated 1 over I plus 2? What did I find as the answer? I found 2 minus I over 5. So the 2 is going to be over 5. Also the I is going to be over 5. Remember, that's what I already found from the previous question. So just subtract and add like term. So the 3 over 25 is a like term to the negative 1. So that is going to give us 3 minus 25 is negative 22 over 25, and then minus 4 over 25i. This one has got an I. And then everything here now divided by what is in the denominator, which is the 2 over 5 minus, I can also say 1 over 5, and then I put the I here. Okay, that is what we have. It's just simplifying, nothing any complex. Make sure that you are just careful in the way you are simplifying. So I can as well write this as negative 22 over 25 minus 4 over 25i. Okay, and then I'll, instead of saying divide by, I'm going to change this into multiplication. I'll change this into multiplication. If you change into multiplication, what was down goes on top. So the 5 which was down goes on top, and then the 2 minus I comes down. So someone is already confused. This is 2 minus I over 5. Because the 5, we can also merge them. So if we change into multiplication, the 5 is going to go on top. Okay? So meaning that this 5 will go into this. So we're going to have what? Negative 22 minus 4i over. This one I could also have written it as everything over 25, because 25 is the same. 5 into 25 is a 5, so we're going to remain with a 5 here. And then multiplied by, we're going to remain with a 1 on top over 2 minus I there. So this is the same as negative 22 minus 4i divided by 10 minus 5i. This is what we have. Again, conjugate the denominator so that you remain with something in the form a plus ib. So multiply on top by 10 plus 5i, also down by 10 plus 5i. Now, the fact that I've taken a long process doesn't mean that this question is hard. So if you rationalize here, the answer that you are going to get is the answer. Now for this one, because this is a long process, I could have done it in an easier way. Just from step 1, I could just say where there is z, I'll replace with z, which is 1 over I plus 2. And then minus 1 over, where there is z, I'm going to put 1 over I plus 2. Okay, we did already rationalize 1 over I plus 2. That gave us 2 minus I over 5. We already did this, and then we just say minus. Now 1 over I plus 2 can also be written as 1 times, instead of saying this over, we'll change it into 2 times. What is down, the I plus 2 will go on top, and then what is on top, the 1 will come down. So all we are going to have is 2 plus I, or I plus 2. Okay, and this will give us, just add like terms, 2 over 5 negative times 2, that will be negative 2. And then I'll write a negative I over 5 negative times I, and that will be negative I. Okay, since the denominator here is 5, just to simplify work, can make also this one to have a denominator of 5. So multiplied by 5 over 5, even this one by 5 over 5, since the denominator is 5. I have not changed anything. So since the denominator is the same, it is 5, just add what's on top. 2 times 5, we know that's 10. So that will be 2 minus 10, that is going to be negative 8 over 5. Same with the one on top there. Negative I minus 5i, that is going to be negative 6i over 5. So we have expressed it in the form a plus ib. Very simple. Are we good? Sylvia, you okay? Okay, now the very, very last question which was in this paper. We already know what Z is. Using the same Z, Z is 1 over I plus 2. Now the question was saying find the value of x and y for which 2x plus I to the power 5 y is equal to the conjugate of z, and this question was 6 marks. Now we know that I squared is equal to negative 1. So if I square both sides, I square this side and I square this side, I squared squared, that will be I to the power 4. Negative 1 squared is positive 1. And then if I multiply this one by I times I to the power 4, that will be I to the power 5. And then 1 times I, that is going to be I. Mean that I to the power 5 is the same as I. So this is just 2x plus IY is equal to the conjugate of Z. Now remember we already found Z as 2 minus I over 5. So the conjugate, just change the sign on the middle. That's the conjugate of Z. So that is 2 over 5 plus 1 over 5I. Okay, that's the conjugate of Z. So from here, just compare those which are constants with constants. So the 2x should be equal to this. So 2x is equal to 2 over 5. Those which have got I, compare with what has got I, meaning that y is equal to 1 over 5. That's the answer. And then here, these 2 cancel with these 2. So mean that x is also 1 over 5. I don't know why this question was 6 marks, but that is it.